A $14 billion island is rising from the sea off Malaysia's coast. It looks like a modern engineering success: new land, new roads, new bridges. But Malaysia has tried this before. One of its earlier man-made cities now sits almost empty. So this island is not just about building land from water. It is about whether the country is building its future or repeating a very expensive mistake. Please take a moment to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel. Over the last 30 years, Malaysia has been slowly reshaping its coastline. Since 1991, more than 80 square kilometers of land have been reclaimed from the sea. That is an area larger than many major cities. Coastlines that once marked the edge of the country now sit far inland, replaced by artificial ground built for housing, industry, and transport. For island cities, this kind of expansion is often seen as the only option. When land runs out, the sea becomes the next frontier. Nowhere has this been more visible than in Penang. Penang Island is one of Malaysia's most important economic and cultural centers. It attracts tourists, investors, and new residents every year. But it is also physically constrained. The island is small, narrow, and shaped by steep hills that cut through its interior. As demand increased, pressure on the coastline grew. That pressure intensified in 2008 when Georgetown received UNESCO World Heritage status. Almost overnight, Penang gained global attention. Tourism surged, hotels expanded, property prices climbed, long-standing neighborhoods began to change, and space became even harder to find. But Penang Island has hard limits. Much of its interior is mountainous and forested, and large portions are legally protected. The flat land along the coast is already heavily built up. With nowhere left to expand inland, the city turned outward. Building into the sea became the simplest and fastest solution available. That decision led directly to Andaman Island. A 760-acre man-made island is taking shape just off Penang's northern coast. Instead of being planned as a separate city, it is designed as an extension of Penang itself. Roads, utilities, and neighborhoods are meant to flow naturally from the existing urban fabric. The project forms part of a larger coastal master plan aimed at reshaping Penang's waterfront by 2030. In 2016, this area was little more than open water. Barges and dredging ships slowly appeared offshore. Today, the outline of a new island is clearly visible. By the late 2020s, it is expected to operate as a complete urban district with homes, streets, parks, and public spaces. Creating land from the sea is a slow and carefully controlled process. It begins far offshore, where specialized dredging ships extract sand from approved seabed locations. This sand is loaded directly into the ships and transported toward the coast. From there, it is pumped through long steel pipelines and spread across the seabed. Layer by layer, the sea floor rises. At first, the surface may look solid, but beneath it lies soft marine clay that cannot support buildings. To solve this, engineers install thousands of vertical drains deep into the ground. These drains give trapped water a path to escape. Heavy loads are then placed on top of the land to compress the soil. Over time, water is forced out, and the ground slowly becomes stronger and more stable. This process can take months or even years, but skipping it would risk serious structural failure later on. Once the land is formed, it must be protected. Around Andaman Island, engineers built a thick perimeter of rock using stones weighing over 100 kilograms each. This structure was shaped into a sloped barrier known as a rock revetment. Unlike vertical seawalls, the slope absorbs wave energy instead of reflecting it. This reduces erosion, limits long-term damage, and increases the island's ability to survive storms and rising sea levels. Much of this work sits quietly below the waterline, unseen but essential. This approach has already proven its value. During the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, waves reached parts of Penang's coastline while nearby coastal defenses were still being developed. Areas protected by sloped revetments performed better than rigid structures, reducing the force of incoming waves. It was a rare real-world test that confirmed decades of coastal engineering research. Before buildings can rise, the reclaimed land must fully settle. Engineers closely monitor ground movement, tracking how fast the soil compresses. Only when movement slows to safe levels does construction begin. On Andaman Island, buildings are supported by deep concrete piles driven through layers of sand and clay into stronger ground below. Today, cranes and high-rise towers already dominate the skyline. What was once open sea is now clearly becoming part of the city. But land alone does not make a city. Andaman Island is being connected to Penang through two major road bridges. One links directly to Straits Key, itself built on reclaimed land. The other connects to Gurney Bay, a large waterfront redevelopment still taking shape. These links are critical. Without them, Andaman would risk becoming isolated. With them, it becomes a true extension of Penang's urban network. The reason for building Andaman becomes clear when you look at property values. In Penang, homes near the coast sell for about 50% more than those inland. Sea views, access to marinas, and proximity to lifestyle districts command a premium. Andaman Island is planned to deliver around 5,000 homes for roughly 16,000 residents. While the average Malaysian apartment costs about $140,000, prices on Andaman range from around $120,000 to as high as $1.6 million. The project is clearly aimed at higher-income buyers, both local and international. This strategy brings up an unavoidable comparison. Forest City was Malaysia's most ambitious reclaimed mega-project, a $100 billion vision spread across 4 artificial islands. It was designed to house 700,000 people. Backed by a major Chinese developer, it promised a futuristic coastal metropolis filled with parks, towers, and smart infrastructure. But the problem was never engineering. It was demand. China's property slowdown reduced investment, developer debt increased, capital controls limited overseas spending. Malaysia tightened foreign residency rules. Then the pandemic shut down global travel entirely. By 2023, reports suggested only about 1% of Forest City's completed apartments were occupied. The building stood, but the population never arrived. Andaman Island operates on a very different scale. 16,000 residents instead of 700,000, hundreds of acres instead of thousands of hectares, a $14 billion investment instead of $100 billion. It is led by a Malaysian developer and built in a location where housing demand already exists. Early sales reports suggest strong interest, with several residential towers selling out. This is not a project designed to attract buyers to a remote location. It is designed to expand a city that is already full. Even so, success is not guaranteed. Andaman could become a carefully planned extension that strengthens Penang's future. Or it could slowly drift toward the same quiet emptiness seen in other reclaimed developments around the world. The lessons are clear. Whether they are applied well enough will only be revealed over time. Projects like Andaman remind us that construction is not just about land, money, and concrete. Thanks for watching Unthinkable Build. We'll see you in the next one.